Welcome to Live Edge, episode number next. Tonight, we're going to talk about, is technology going to take over woodworking? There's a poll right there in the chat. If you're on the Facebook or the YouTube feed, be sure and vote that poll. Let me know what you think about that. How much is technology going to creep into the woodworking space more than it already is? Because there's a lot of stuff that's already kind of being taken over or at least enhanced by technology, right? For instance, I just got this eye gauging. This is fantastic too. I've put a link in the description if you want to check any of this stuff out. Some of the stuff I'll talk about. This is an eye gauging digital router gauge. I've been using this in the shop just to check it out and see how well it works. Has like nice preset steps right there. If you can see those that are set at, normal distances, quarter, 3/8. That's good for setting your fences up. And then, of course, the depth gauge is digital. And one good thing about the digital stuff is it's extremely accurate. But do you need the, 0.001 thousandths of an inch accuracy in woodworking? No. No, you don't. Not really. Not for the stuff I'm building, I don't. It's just like woodpecker's tools, right? Those are extremely accurate tools. But you don't necessarily need that much accuracy in a tool in woodworking. Does stuff need to be square? Yeah. But does it need to be to the 1,000th of an inch square? Probably not. But it's cool to have it, right? And eye gauging stuff is awesome too. Like this stuff is really well built. This is anodized aluminum. It's just a really well made. I got a video coming out on this later too, if you want to just wait for that and see it in action. One thing I think about when I think about technology in the woodworking space or tools in general is the fact that most of the tools you have already have some type of technology built into them, right? Think about your batteries. A lot of these battery systems like this, Milwaukee batteries, and where'd it go? I lost it. And flex tools. I've got this flex battery right here that I just got. Like I just got these batteries or a flex router. This battery has circuits built into it, like chips built into it to do a lot of different things. And for one, it's going to conserve your tools, make sure that you don't burn them up. It's also going to help your battery life, the power output. Like it has processors in there to do that, all that stuff. It's just really cool to see how much technology is making its way into the tools that we use every day. And that's one of the things I like. I'm a tech nerd, if you don't know, on top of woodworking. So a lot of the stuff I just like geek out on, right? So I like to I understand. This is cool. Like, it's really cool. The things that they're doing with the technologies that's available to them to help just make life better, make your tools better, make them last longer, make your tools not only last longer the battery life, but also last longer the motors. And that's what a lot of this technology is doing in these new tools. It's fantastic stuff. Fantastic. Hey, Jesse Mitchell. Hey, thank you for your service. I greatly appreciate you. A few other things, that a lot of these technology is getting into our woodworking, and a lot of people will push back on this, right? Especially some of the older thinking or more traditional thinking woodworkers. They do not like the CNC, right? This is literally a game changer in a lot of shops, including mine. I love my CNC. I use it a lot. It runs multiple times a week, making trays and all sorts of things. The new one even has an electronic spindle, so it basically tells it how fast to spin, when to stop. I've got a whole video on my Shapeoko 5 Pro CNC if you want to check that out. But it is it's the whole review of it. Like I got a whole review of that. You just search 731 Shapeoko 5, you'll find it. But CNCs are being used in multiple ways in woodworking, not only just to build your products, to help your shop, just help your business. The tools we're using are hand tools. If you're a Woodpeckers fan, that's their shop. They have CNCs by the dozens in there making tools for woodworkers. So it's like Inception. It's like tool Inception, right? And these things are extremely accurate. And that's what I was talking about a while ago. Do we need that much accuracy? Probably not. But do we get it? We sure do. I mean, it's awesome. But you can see all these awesome tools being made using technology. And of course, that stuff's been going on for years, right? And we know that the tool manufacturers have been using this kind of stuff for years and years now, but a lot of the stuff is getting to now where it's affordable for us. CNC's affordable for some of us to pick up or buy. depending on what level you're at in your business or your hobby, you want to make this stuff. And then a lot of us are also picking up things like this, lasers. I have no affiliation with this company. This is Omtech. I've seen a few in the videos. I just Googled lasers for woodworking, and these showed up. This is the first one I clicked on. But you can spend whatever you want, right? You can spend a few $100s all the way up to multiples of thousands of dollars, 8, 10, 20, 30, 40. Look at Laguna lasers. Some of those are $80,000 and $90,000 for really big industrial settings. But for the garage woodworker, everyday woodworker, most of what I've seen, people spend anywhere between right around $500 up to $2,000 or $3,000, depending on how much you're wanting to get into your laser cutting for woodworking. And some people say woodworking or lasers and CNCs aren't woodworking. Well, at one time they didn't like the table saw, so that's what I got to say about that. I did find this awesome deal. This is just random. I found this when I was looking at lasers a while ago. This is the X-Tool D1. It's a very popular laser for a lot of people. It's 21% off today, which if you go down, I've got this little plugin called Keepa, and you look at the stats, it shows lowest price ever, $1,099 yesterday. It's still at that. Plus, there's a $110 coupon if you're looking for a laser. I threw the link in the description if you're interested in that. And I know a lot of people are trying to get into lasers and things like that. A lot of people take these lasers and they use them in their woodworking business because then they can engrave custom logos, custom names. You can make custom parts, pieces, products with your lasers. There's a lot of videos out there on this stuff. Now, the only reason I don't have one is I'm out of space. I don't have any room for it. I could probably fit one of these smaller X tools like that in there, but then I got to worry about venting it. And I don't know. I'm a little cautious about that, and I would really like to wait until I get a little more space before I do that. P24T says, I use a cheap 5-watt laser, and I got it on Black Friday to inscribe the bottom of my bowls I made on the lathe. So a lot of people use it for that. They'll put their logos on there, or they'll use all kinds of stuff to help them, customize their products or even brand their products. It's fantastic. Next thing, if you saw any of my AWFS videos, it's a woodworking fair out in Las Vegas. It happens every other year. I went out there back last month and I saw this. This is what got me thinking about the future of woodworking. This is a digital table saw fence that you can buy right now. Punch in the measurement, it moves to where it needs to go and stops. It'll also self-calibrate, which is what he's fixing to do here. It self-calibrates itself. It moves and bumps the blade a little bit, and then it's ready to go. And from that point on, it's dead accurate. You can just punch in your measurement. If you need a 12-inch rip, put in 12 inches. 12 3/4, punch it in. Like anything you need to get that extreme accuracy, it'll do it. Like it's a cool product. It's a very cool product. Now, a lot of people want to know if this is better than the Harvey table saw fence. I don't know. The new Harvey table saw fence is not digital. It's analog like every other fence. You just move it, clamp it down wherever you want it. It's got some fine detail adjustments. It just depends on what you're wanting, right? I didn't necessarily want to punch in measurements every time I move my table saw fence. I just want to slide it, lock it down. Like I think that's one of the hang-ups a lot of people have. You let me know what you think about that. I don't know that. So if I just want to rip a 3-inch piece, do I want to go over and put it in 3 inches? And I don't know. I think I would just move it and lock it down. But it's very interesting to see this stuff coming because this is going to change woodworking eventually. I think a lot of stuff like this is pushing the envelope right now, but you can see years down the road, 5-10 years down the road, this stuff may be like in every saw. I don't know. You tell me. Nobody ever thought that 20 years ago SawStop that anybody would invent something that would keep you from cutting your fingers off, right? And SawStop did it, and now it's on all their saws and starting to get into Festool saws since Festool and SawStop are owned by the same people. Like it's just this stuff is coming to a lot of tools, and I think it's going to work its way down as it has in the past. You take my grandpa's era or my dad's era early on, CNCs and lasers, like that stuff wasn't. Like you couldn't buy one of those. Like an average everyday guy in his garage couldn't buy that stuff. It just wasn't affordable. A CNC machine, 10 or 15 years ago was multiples of thousands of dollars, right? That was worth anything. And now, an average person can, even if you took a loan and bought one for $3,000-$4,000, it could pay for itself. Like you could. That's not unattainable for a lot of people, which is why a lot of people own them. Lasers are even cheaper than that. You can get one for $400 or $500, sometimes even cheaper, and start really making products of this stuff. Like this stuff is changing fast. It's so fast. Like I didn't have internet till I was like, I don't know, 17, 18 years old. I didn't know about internet, I guess, until I was 17, 18 years old. And look how much that has advanced over the last few years. So there's just so much coming. It's so exciting. And check this out. This is the Shark. I saw this at AWFS Fair too. Got a video on it. This is my video. But this is a Shark Next Wave. It's a router table that has an electric fence on it. So you're able to move your fence. Not only that, this thing has pre-programmed stuff like those dovetails you see, those box joints you see, all pre-programmed. You just tell it how wide the board is and go. And like that. All that's done on that CNC, or the CNC fence basically is what it is. And then you just tell it what you want, push next, and it, like, every time you push the pedal, it'll move for exactly how far it needs to move. Like, this stuff is fascinating. If I had room for that, I would probably buy one of those just to be able to review it. You see him pushing the foot pedal. That's just cycling through the steps. But the reason I don't have that one, hey, Mia, the reason I don't have that one is because of how far it sticks off the back. I just don't have the room, the floor space for that. But this stuff is cool. Like, you can't tell me that's not cool. You may not want to do it. You may not want to, mess with the program. You may not want to have that. You may want to hit your old analog, but you got to admit that's cool. Now, this was one of the video. This video's got 400,000 views in a month. Like, this is kind of and there's a bunch of controversial topics in there. This is the technology I'm talking about. This table saw is from Altendorf. You got to go check this video out. Just search the most exciting table saw in yours. You'll find it. It's using AI, scary words, and cameras to figure out where your hand is. The reason there's no actual blade at this saw, for anybody wondering, is because this fair wouldn't allow them to use a live blade. But they have tons of demos with live blades. But this thing is watching for the hand. It literally watches for a hand. And when it gets close, it drops down. And it's not ruining the blade. It's not causing any downtime or anything like that. You'll see in just a second. It's literally driving the motor down right there. It's driving that motor down, the blade, pushing the blade down by motors so that it doesn't damage the blade. And within 10 or 15 seconds, he can be back to cutting. So if you accidentally made a mistake, you got your hand too close to the blade, oh my goodness, it drops. Like, it drops fast too. And like Miss 731 done it. Watch this. She done it. And she was a little nervous to do it, but it worked. Like, it picks your hand up if my internet's not going to work. But there it is. You get the idea. So this stuff is just like this stuff. I can see this technology coming. Now, this table saw is, a lot, like north of 50,000. It's a very expensive industrial table saw. This is not something the garage guy's going to buy. But if this technology keeps coming, the cameras, the AI, I know people are like, well, what if the dust gets on the camera? What if the AI glitches? Like, this stuff is really advanced. Could it? I'm not going to go into the mistakes. I don't know if it could. Maybe it could have a mistake. Maybe not. I don't know. But that type of technology could easily be adapted to lower model saws. I mean, there's not that much to that. A couple of cameras, and it could easily be adapted. And then you take a normal saw right now, say the Delta 36725 T2 is like $700 right now. If you take that and put this technology on there and raise the price $100 or $200 at some point down the road when this technology is widely available and they can adapt it to stuff, especially SawStop's patents supposedly running out next week or next year. I mean, I'm talking to a patent attorney tomorrow about that. We're making a video. So this is like really interesting technology to me. Again, just weirding out. If you don't know about any of these videos that I showed, or you can just search them and check them out, the full video in detail yourself, just to see this stuff in action and live. But technology, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing that technology is working its way into woodworking. I think it's one of those things that it's just inevitable, right? It's worked its way into everything else in your life, so it's going to work its way in there. And almost all woodworkers are going to deal with technology in some way. Now, you may not have a CNC in your shop. You may not even care to have those things in your shop. But the power tools you're using certainly have technology in them, like this battery, right? Your tools, the motors in your tools, and they have circuitry in them and all this stuff. Like this stuff's only going to progress and get more advanced. So that's just really cool. Can it call in a pizza order for me, Gary? Well, not yet, but it might can one of these days. Laverne Beeler says, start using digital fences. You won't go back. Probably so. It's because it's so accurate, right? Is that why you like them so much? The accuracy, the speed? Like I can see them being beneficial. But it's also like trying to convince an older woodworker to get a CNC if they're not into that. So they're just like, it's not woodworking. It's not true craftsmanship, right? Because the machine's doing it. You programmed it on the computer. You didn't make that. The computer did. You get that all the time. I see it all the time. There's Miss 731. If you notice, I'm alone tonight. Miss 731 is she's got multiple kidney stones. We're talking 10 plus kidney stones. One of them's 4.5 millimeters. If you don't know how much a millimeter is, I just looked at this. On this gauge right here, the first long mark right there is 5, and hers is 4.5 millimeters. So right under that 5 is how big that kidney stone is. So she needs prayers, please. So she's in pain tonight. So that's where she's at. She's just in the next room over there resting. Another thing that I think is changing a lot of shops, not necessarily woodworking shops, but I think I've been seeing it a lot and made me want to dip my toes into it. So I just ordered this. It's supposed to be here Thursday, and it's a 3D printer. This is the one I went with, Bamboo Lab X1. This seemed to be the kind of the consensus on the easiest to use. And one of the things that pushed me over the edge was Shapeoko 3, Carbide 3D released a lot of 3D files that you can download and then just download and give it to this thing and it'll print them. Their clamps, their corner brackets, like everything that goes with the CNC, like the accessories, they have a ton of those they just released. And then there's another guy called, I don't remember his name, but he makes 3D printed files for packouts, like Milwaukee packouts. So you can print your own 3D parts or 3D organizers and put in packouts. So all of your tools, like your drill and impact, will fit inside a packout in this custom molded thing that you print on a 3D printer and help you organize. Like that is awesome. And that's why I bought that, because I wanted those two things drove me to buy it. That's it. And so, but you can take these things and model parts and fix things that, break, or get you a dust adapter. You could print your own. It's just super cool. RNA says, I would never have a smartphone and hear the rest of the story. Yeah. I think a lot of this stuff it kind of creeps up on you. Like, how long ago did 3D printing come about to where it was readily available? 4, 5, 6 years ago, maybe. I've seen some videos about that old on YouTube about 3D printing, and seems to me like a lot of people get one of these and then they get more. And so I bought the X1, which is the top of the line one from Bamboo Labs. I bought that one because of ease of use mainly. That's one of the reasons I bought it. And I was like, well, if later I add more to the shop and I want to start making product with it, then I will buy the lower models. There's one called the P1S that was actually recommended to me by Travis at Shop Nation, as well as Whitworks at Drew Witt at Whitworks told me to get this one. And the reason I went with above, I went over. I didn't take their recommendation. I went with the other one because it just felt like why not? This one has the spools on top, and it has LiDAR in there to help self-level the beds and all that. I just felt like it was going to be easier. That's one of the reasons I did it. Thank you, Mr. Gary. Appreciate you. Mr. Tom says he got a Shapeoko 3XXL. Would love some help getting started. If you haven't checked out my.carbide3d.com, you got to check that out. That is a wealth of information because it has free trainings on there for you. Check this out. Like, they set this up after I got mine. First steps, it takes you through everything, starting from scratch. Like, if you knew nothing about CNC, anybody can go do this for free. You don't need a machine. You can just go through this course, and it just tells you step by step by step how to install the software, how to run the software, how to build things, how to import files, like everything. You got to check that out. That'll help you get started faster than anything I can tell you. You can take it at your own pace. Dan says, off topic, but I just bought a Bosch 1617 router for my router table and a Rockler SL lift. Excited. Are offset wrenches needed for a bit change? On my Craig lift, I don't have offset wrenches. It comes all the way up. A friend of mine has the SawStop router lift. I don't know what router he's using, but he has the offset wrenches. I saw them. I think offset wrenches just help you get in there a little easier, but I'm not sure if you need them or not. Hey, Bill with Moody. How are you? So, in your opinion, like, how much is technology changing the way you work? Or is it just one of those things that is helping you because of the technology, like in the tools and the batteries and things? I'm curious to know what you think. The Hobbling Farmer says technology will never stop growing. My grandmother, born in 1908, went from farming with horses to seeing her grandson farming with an auto steer on a planter and a combine. That's true. That is true. Well, you look at, like, my grandpa's dad, he had a picture in his house. My grandpa had a picture in his house. His dad, they were logging big old trees too, like giant trees with mules. Like, they would put them on like a trailer with a mule and haul them out. And then fast forward, 30, 40, 50, probably more than that, 50, 60 years, they had log trucks and all kinds of stuff to help them log. So it's crazy. I think it's just, I think it just makes things easier, faster, better, more funner. The CNC is one of them. I've had more fun with the CNC than I have any other tool that I've owned. And I've had a lot of fun with my other power tools too, table saw and all that stuff. But the CNC is just different. I always say it's my first employee because I'm able to just set it and let it go. It builds things for me, after I get the files just right. And that takes a little trial and error, but it's okay too. Marion, I agree. He says, I love my battery power tools, but I also like my corded sander. I've only used one cordless sander and I didn't like it. And so I'll stick with the corded sanders. They just work better in my opinion. More power, more equal power. A lot of complaints with the battery powered sanders is as the battery drains or gets close to draining, then it starts slowing that orbit down, which can mess up your finish, which is no fun. Oh, that is super cool, P2014. He says, I want to build technology into things I make. I made myself a new bedside clock, and it runs Raspberry Pico microcontroller and controls the lights stuff. I've watched some of those videos. Those are fascinating. I love those. I've always wanted to kind of learn that stuff, but there's almost something in a day. Thank you, Aprila. Roger, there's nothing wrong with that. He says, I'm having a hard time trying this new technology. I still use electricity for saws and stuff, thinking about changing the battery, but think it's better to build by hand. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's what I like about woodworking and this community is because look at Rex Kruger's YouTube channel, all hand tools for the most part. And then you got other channels that's like all power tools. Like you can do it either way. You can do the mix. You can do it one way or the other. You can mix them together and get whatever you want out of it and whatever you enjoy. I think that's the main thing about it is if you enjoy using power tools, why not? I do. Like I'm not the hand tool guy. I've got hand tools in the shop, but I much prefer the power tools if I can get away with it. And then there's some people that enjoy the process of using the hand tools, of crafting something by hand from scratch. Like, it's pretty cool. The Pharaoh says, do you use any magnetic bit attachments? No, not really. I mean, I have like a magnetic, it's like one side's the pilot hole driller or countersink drill, and you flip it over and it has the bit. But for the most part, no. More power. Andy Nestor, I agree. I mean, kind of. I'm the same way, except for with track saws. I like my cordless track saws for whatever reason, but they always have a vac hose attached to them. So basically, I'm tied to something. That's just the way it works. Bill Fallon says, question, Matt, how well does this new electric stuff, fences, etc., work with magnetic accessories? I haven't seen anyone comment on it because I don't know. I didn't ask that question. That is a good question, though. I know a lot of people have built jigs and all kinds of stuff with their magnets, especially MagJig, since they've come around. I guess it's pretty cool. I'm not sure. I really not. That would be good to know, though. Open Hanger Woodworks says, I haven't been able to get behind the CNC movement. It just feels better for me to build something and assemble it by hand. Nothing wrong with that. I don't have any feelings either way. Like, I like that the CNC I like having it. I like the fact that I can program things and just batch them out pretty much is what I'm using it for. I've only made a few one-off things. I made a gift for Miss 731. I made the Vietnam veteran mallet template with it. And really, and made my dad a custom thing. For the most part, I'm not making custom stuff. I'm pretty much using it for batch work, which I think is what it's mainly best at. Now, you can do custom work, and it's good at it. But profit-wise, as far as a business goes, profit-wise, making multiples of something at a speed that I couldn't produce by hand, like this, that's what it's for. STL, you have to let me know how you like that big old track saw. I got the 55 and I'm quite pleased with it. Oh, that's right. Hoss. And a sweet set of cornhole boards. I did make a custom set of those. They're good for stuff like that. CNC is awesome for stuff like that, but if you're going to make money with it, like batching things out, for me, that's what's worked for me, is batching things out where we make the money at. Custom router templates, good idea. Blaine says, as you as a believer, you think it's wrong to make a living making crosses. Jesus got mad at merchants at the temple for making money in God's image. Actually, he got mad in the temple because they were using the temple as their place of business, right? So it'd be like me going to set up shop in the church and trying to charge people in the church. But no, I don't think it's wrong, especially since 10% of it goes to the church anyway. CNCs are nice. They're nice to have. Not a necessity for woodworking. Obviously, I've done it for years without them, but it's a nice idea to have. It's like anything else. Like, I started out with a circular saw and two drills. I mean, it's all I had, and I made do until I bought something I could make enough money to buy something else. You just make do with what you got, and then work your way up. It's the beauty of woodworking. It's somebody asked me this last week, why do I think there's more at-home woodworkers than there is metal workers? And it's because of the ease of entry. You can get started. It's a low barrier of entry. You can get started woodworking with minimal tools. A circular saw and a drill will cost you less than $50 if you buy from like Harbor Freight or somewhere. You can literally get started for less than $50 and just start building stuff. You go to your local store and pick up some 204s and make something and sell it, and then repeat the process. And that's how I did it. And I would just rinse and repeat. I would build, make profit, go buy more wood, make profit, take whatever profit I had for the tool I needed at the time, which was a cordless drilling driver. And so that's the first things I bought. Then I needed a miter saw, and I built and made things till I was able to afford that. It's just a good way to build it up. Amy's OCD says, which technology has made the biggest impact on you as a business owner? It's a good question. I think it would probably be the CNC, just because I'm able to make money with it. All right, it's power tip time. So the power tip is, don't be afraid of technology, right? Because you have to embrace this stuff. I'm not saying go all in, like have a totally digital shop in the garage, although that would be cool. I think just not being so closed-minded to things. I see a lot of people that are just absolutely closed-minded to anything tech, like CNCs or even saw stops technology. People are so closed off to that. Yeah, it froze again. Let's see if we're back. Let me know if we're back. I think we're back. But I think just don't be so closed off to the idea that technology can help your business, because technology can advance your business and help you work faster, smarter, and safer, and make more money. Like, that's one of the main things about technology in a business. It really changes your business up a lot. So, well, if we froze, then you had to catch me on the audio replay on. Catch me on the audio replay on the podcast. And if you still see me, then good night.